And if you got real good at it and got a little experience and had a good work ethic, they'd come in on a Friday afternoon and say, Marlon, you're so good at what we've been teaching you to do, and you're about the best we have. We're going to anoint you foreman. And they'll tap you on the shoulder on a Friday afternoon and say, Monday, all these folks that work for you, that worked with you on Friday, Monday they work for you. Kind of exciting, isn't it? When he came to work Monday morning, it felt a little different. Because the people that were your colleagues, your social group, now they see you differently. They also gave you another tool bag, and in that tool bag, in addition to the technical tools, there was a tool in there called authority. And one of those tools was, because I said so. You had that tool. You could use that. When you first started, you didn't want to say that because they were still your friends, so the first tool you used was one because the boss said so. I mean, I wouldn't want to tell you, my friend, to do something, but the boss told me I had to tell you. And you begin to gradually move into that position of having authority over people. You know, it's funny when you have those kind of relationships, the people who are your friends on Friday, now they report to you on Monday, they're probably going to give you a honeymoon and not give you any real challenges for a whole day. You'll get a free ride, not have any challenges as a supervisor or foreman for a whole day. But early in that relationship, like Tuesday, one of those cats are going to touch the stove and see if it's hot. They're going to make a little deviation. They'll come a little late, not do safety exactly right, and everybody's watching. It's called a professional gut check. You've got to decide how you're going to deal with that former friend who's now a follower. If you decide that, well, I'm not going to say anything because they're my friends, well, they go to lunch with you and laugh at your jokes, but you never get the mission done through them, particularly in a crisis. Because when they have a leader, they want somebody to follow that exudes leadership, and they won't look for you. But if you try to deal with it, try to confront the deviation, try to do something to move the standards along, you'll get this. Oh, I thought we were friends. A lot of baggage there, isn't it? And you know, the bad news is the person that makes that screw up is going to be older than you are and taught you your job. That's the one you got to. Is that fun? No. See, the problem is, many years ago, those tools of because I said so, and there was one in the bottom of that bag that says you're fired. We could use that. We could write them up or whatever. They used to work pretty well. But see, if you have a tool, you work on a piece of equipment, but what if the equipment changes? The tool doesn't work as well, does it? Well, I'm trying to share with you today that the tools you used to use that work pretty well aren't as effective because the organization, the people, has changed significantly. Education in its purest form is the transfer of concepts and principles. Transfer from the teacher, from the book, to the student of concepts and principles. The output of education is knowledge, which means you know the concepts and principles. It takes place in the classroom. Now, how do we know you know? How do we demonstrate our knowledge? Well, if you get a lecture on Monday and a test on Friday, you pass the test Friday, they know you were there Monday. You do that for several years. Say, Donna here gets a degree in something, and you say, you understand the concepts and principles. And that's important. We need to do that. But training is completely different. Training is defined as the transfer of skills. Totally different game. Skill transfer. And the output of training is performance, the ability to actually do it. I learned the difference about 40 years ago between education and training, knowledge and ability, when I was in Air Force pilot training in the late 50s over in Alabama flying jets. Half of the day we were in a classroom learning about aerodynamics, structure, and whether we had to take tests to get the knowledge, principles, concepts. But every day they strapped my young body in a jet airplane. Said, son, go fly that puppy. You'll understand the difference between education and training, knowledge and ability when you're 20,000 feet all alone in a single-engine jet. You realize right then that the test scores are not going to land that airplane. What lands the airplane? Skill, not knowledge. I know that because we had some fellows in our class that made an A on every test. Straight A students understood it perfectly. But a few of them busted out of pilot training. Why? They never mastered the skill at landing the jet, and they are not pilots today because they can't do it. Performance is skill-based, not knowledge-based. Think of a carpenter to build a building like this of lasting usefulness and beauty. He's out on the work site, he's got a board and a nail, he's got to put the nail in the board to build the building. He runs over to his toolbox. What's he looking for? A wrench, screwdriver, what's he looking for? Hammer. He has the tools he needs and he knows when he needs a particular tool. Well, I have a hammer and I know when I need one. In fact, my hammer and his are identical. The identical tool, you can't tell them apart. Well, I got the hammer, I got the nail, I got my mouth right, but I hit my thumb and bend that nail every time. I don't do a very good job building buildings. But what does a carpenter do? He has the tools and has the knowledge. He looks like I do when he starts to swing that hammer and hits a nail 3 times, and the 3rd time he sets it for a generation and builds a building of lasting usefulness and beauty. What does he have that I do not have? Skills to use the tools, right? And I might have more education. Keep hitting my thumb. Point. When you go out to lead when you're not in charge, the people that respond to that don't care a lot about what you know about that stuff. They only care about when you sit down across the table tomorrow, do good things happen? Can you do it? Let me ask this question. Did you get your job today for being very good at the previous job? Think about that. We take the person who's the best at their bunch and we promote them because we promote excellence, don't we? Now, you don't need to be embarrassed about it, but you probably got your job because you did great at the last one. Is that true? Now, let me say here, let's assume that you work for me and you work for him, okay, Marlon? And let's assume I used to have that job, and now you're in the learning curve. Has anybody ever stepped on a rake? Ever stepped on a rake's impression about right here, done it? You don't do that again. Oh. You learn those lessons the hard way. Now, right now, think of something you're good at. What are you good at? You're good at some part of your job, a hobby. You're all good at something. Think about it. Get it right up here in the frontal lobe. Focus on what you're good at. Got it? You know what? I've just lowered the stress in this room. Because stress and self-esteem run inversely. They run directly. As your self-esteem goes up, your stress goes down. So I have an inverse relationship. Now, you're good at it. You know you are. And when you say, man, I'm pretty good at that, your stress goes down. Okay? Now, go back to the first time you did what you're good at today. You can't remember that. You know why? Because the mind suppresses unpleasant experiences. When the first time you did you do it right, or did you just screw it up like I did? You made a mistake. Did you say this? I made a mistake and I'm not going to do that again. That's embarrassing. Boy, I'm not going to walk away. No, you didn't do that. You know what you did? What we all did? You were mature enough and clever enough to realize that if I look closely in this mistake, buried in there someplace there's a lesson of value. And I'm going to peel that mistake away and find that lesson, use it next time. And you get better and better. That's the way it works. That's the only route to excellence, is learning those lessons. You might want to remember this. The mistakes we make are usually temporary, but the lessons they teach us are permanent.